Hey everybody, Shondell Jones here from Kinetic Physical Therapy and Wellness. And today we have with us Gloria Ufot, who's a part of the Kinetic team. And we also have Leigh Saner. And we want to give you some great information on creating reachable but challenging health goals. Now, at the time of this recording, we are actually in the middle of a challenge. And so we're doing the COVID 19-pound weight loss challenge. And so if you watch this later and you hear us talking about the challenge, that's what we're talking about. But either way, the things that we talk about today are going to be beneficial to you. So look, I'm going to let Gloria and Leigh tell you a little bit about themselves, and hopefully you'll learn some good information that'll help you to set some reasonable but challenging goals. All right, ladies, you can take it away.
All right. Thank you, Dr. Jones. So, just like we said, my name is Gloria Ufot, and I'm a part of the Kinetic Physical Therapy and Wellness team. I am the marketing coordinator, so I do everything from social media and creating posts and everything like that. And I also come from a health education and promotion background, so this topic is very near and dear to my heart. So, I really like this topic. And today we have on Miss Leigh with us for this interview. So, Leigh, how about you just go ahead and just introduce yourself? Tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do, and about your brand and stuff.
Sure. So, hey guys, my name is Leigh Saner. I have a master's degree in public health, and I am a national board certified health and wellness coach. I am the owner of Define You. It is a health and wellness coaching business that helps individuals prioritize their health needs through all transitions they go through in their life. So, I'm really excited to talk about this because goal setting is so important when it comes to our health goals. And I'm so excited to be interviewed with Gloria today.
Cool. Awesome. Awesome. So, just to reiterate, our topic is how to create challenging but reachable health goals. And I think this topic is very, very important because every single day we have some type of goal, whether it's from I want to lose 30 pounds to I want to wake up early tomorrow morning. So I think this topic is not only relevant in health, but relevant in everyday life. So we're going to dive right into it. So, Leigh, I have one question for you, the first question, and it is, what is one common obstacle that you have seen that a lot of people face when it comes to creating goals? Like, what's one common obstacle or a few that you've seen that a lot of people have that may be a stumbling block or maybe kind of misleading when it comes to creating goals? So, what's one thing that you've seen that people may not quite get right about goals?
Sure. So when it comes to goal setting, the biggest thing that I see when people set goals is they set so many goals at one time. So it's hard for them to focus on one thing and they end up feeling so overwhelmed about all of the things that they're trying to do at one time. So say for example, with this weight loss challenge, someone says I want to lose X amount of weight over the next, couple weeks and I want to start eating healthy and I want to exercise 5 days a week, and if they revamp their whole routine all at once, it can be really overwhelming and it can lead them to feel like they're not progressing forward. And so they get, frustrated and they're like, man, what do I do now? So it kind of keeps them, stagnant in that place. So I really try and, focus on having people set a specific goal, a single specific goal, and prioritize that and then use that as stepping stones for those other goals.
Right, that's awesome. And I think that's exactly why we named this title the way it was. Like, because I think, of course, we all want people to create challenging goals, but also realistic. Because I feel like at sometimes when we create a goal because of the hype of it, for example, like New Year's resolution, everybody just shoots for the stars, and that's great. But a lot of times people don't, or we don't assess everything. Like I want to lose some weight, but I have 3 kids and I'm a wife. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like definitely, it's always important to assess all areas. And speaking of that, I think it was last week you actually made a post about being overwhelmed by the big picture, and you actually you made different examples. You were just like, I want to lose 30 pounds, or I need to plan a wedding, or I want to get a degree. And what you made a suggestion, you were just like, what if I told you to start to make one big goal and then create 5 steps to get there? So if you could just like touch a little bit about that and just the importance of that, and just why people should do that. Like, do you think it's effective to have one big goal, but also just have short term goals in between to help people stay on track to meet that goal?
Yeah, so when it comes to, goal setting, I do think that it's important to have that big overall picture. So, say, you want to, get that, bachelor's degree, you want to finish your degree, and what are the steps that you can take that are those small steps that'll lead up to that big goal. So really focusing on those actionable, tangible steps that you can do that's feasible for you, that you have, the time, the energy, the space to do those things, and then focus on those steps, because looking at the big picture, like you said, can be overwhelming, but focusing on those little steps and those little wins that can lead to that big win and that big goal is so important for your overall success, as well as feeling confident throughout the whole process.
Yeah, I like how you hit on having like little wins because it can often be discouraging if, say, if you have like this big goal and you're not really seeing the progress that you actually are making, and because you don't see yourself at that point, it's like, oh, I'm not, and I'm not doing it right, or if I'm not making any progress. But in reality, you are. It's just you're not paying attention to the little details along with the big picture. So I think that's a really good point. Um, so my next question is, what is one good strategy or guide that you think people should use when it comes to creating goals? I know SMART goals are huge. Um, I believe everybody knows about SMART goals, but if you could just hit more on that, like what are SMART goals? What do they stand for? And why is it relevant when creating goals, and how can it help?
Sure. Yeah. So SMART goals, for those who don't know, they are specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and timely. So, really, what that means is, when you are setting a goal, you want it to be specific. So, when you're setting a weight loss goal, instead of saying, I want to lose weight, maybe it's, I want to lose 10 pounds. So, that's the specific piece and the measurable piece as well. And you want it to be, achievable. So you want it to be something that is also realistic for you. So say, you want to lose those 10 pounds. It's not going to happen in 2 days, right? So you want to have, that time, and just know that any goal when it comes to your health and wellness and anything else in life takes time. But you want it to be, achievable, so you're not feeling frustrated, as well as realistic. And then timely. So what that means is, say you want to lose weight, and we've switched it into that SMART goal where we're saying, okay, I want to lose 10 pounds and in X amount of weeks. So say you want to lose 10 pounds in the next 8 weeks. And that gives you a time bound goal, right? So, 8 weeks from now, this is where you'd like to be, but also focusing on the fact that if it gets to that 8 weeks and you've lost 8 pounds, you've still lost 8 pounds, right? So there's still that progress going on. So not beating yourself up about it, because it is a fluid process, right? You want it to be, yes, a goal that you're focusing on and working towards, but also wanting it to be a lifestyle that you transition into.
Definitely. I like how you mentioned like lifestyle. I feel like just like what I said in the beginning, goals are something. A lot of times when I think about goals, or other people think about goals, at times we think, okay, like huge goals, like huge milestones, which are good, but also just simple goals like I want to eat an apple by 12 o'clock. Like that's oh, even though it's not that big, it's a goal that you still want to shoot for, no matter how big and no matter how small. So I really like that. So my next question is, what are some good creative ways you think people can do to measure or track the progression of their goals? I know a lot of people um, talk about vision boards. Do you suggest like vision boards? Do you suggest like just doing the traditional way of just writing it down and putting it on your wall? Do you suggest having accountability? What are different creative ways that people can take on to really track their goals and make sure they're heading in the right direction?
Yeah, so what I love to do in the beginning of anytime you're setting a goal is do a brain dump. So what that means is, like I talked about in the beginning, we can get overwhelmed with all of the things we want to work on, right? So, like you said, New Year's resolutions, it's the new year and we want to do all of these things, right? And we're like, okay, we're going to do this, 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 and this, and it's going to be great. And it's like a 180 from our current lifestyle right now. And then we get ourselves feeling bogged down. But it's really important to also give those, thoughts and those goals and those ideas a space. So brain dumping allows you to put all of those goals and all of those things that you'd like to work on paper. And then what I like to do is I like to circle at least 3 to 5 that are your priority, and then find that one that you want to start with today. So that's the first step that I like to take, is a brain dump, so you can get all of that, all those thoughts and all of those goals and ideas out on paper, and then prioritize them, and then focus on that one. And then I like to also put it into the calendar. So when we talked about SMART goals, we talked about that time bound, date that we'd like to accomplish something by. So I'll put that on my calendar of, this is the date that I want to accomplish this by, and I'll put little feeders in my calendar throughout that. So it'll either be, keep going, and just like little quotes here and there, or it'll be, if it was focusing on exercising, and say you want to start exercising more and you're starting out with, 2 days a week, and then 3 days a week, and then progressing up to four, by, 2 months from now, you'd ideally like to be exercising or walking 5 days a week. Each week, I'm going to set in a little, stepping stone. So this week, I'm going to focus on 2 days a week and see how it goes. Next week, if that's going well, I'm going to focus on 3 days and kind of go from there, to give yourself, those little feeders and reminders. Because if we set a goal, 2-3 months out, and then we don't think about that. And yeah, I love that you talked about accountability, because when we set goals and don't tell anyone about them, then if things are getting challenging and if we're struggling, it's more likely that we will fall off, versus if we have someone to hold us accountable, whether it's someone in your house, someone outside the house, one of your friends who's doing the challenge with you, or maybe it's even, a stranger, like in this weight loss challenge, and there's someone who's struggling with the same things you are, or needs that extra accountability for their goal, and kind of holding each other and supporting each other in that way.
Definitely, definitely. I think accountability is super, super important. And um, yeah, definitely super important. I feel like it also aligns with self motivation as well. You want to have accountability, but you also want to be self motivated, because ultimately you are the one that's going to accomplish, what you want to accomplish. Yes, you are going to have people. It is good and important to have people on your side cheering you on, but you also want to be self motivated. I know for me, when I was in college, especially during finals time, the different like college groups in our campus, they would always go around campus and have like different sticky notes, like in the most random places. Like you can be at the vending machine and you'll see a sticker like "You're the best," or "You got this." And even though it's so small and insignificant, I think it really. I mean, I know it helped me. I know it helped a lot of people, because you always need that push, and sometimes you even have to do it for yourself. So I think that's very, very important.
Yeah, I agree with that too.
Yeah, definitely. So let's hit on the importance of stepping out of your comfort zone, because definitely when it comes to creating goals, it definitely equates to growth. You doing something, you're accomplishing something, so you're not where you once were. So if you could just like hit on just the importance of stepping out of your comfort zone and really stretching yourself, but at the same time knowing yourself too, and being real with yourself.
Yeah. So, the whole idea of stepping out of your comfort zone is really key when it comes to, like you said, growth. Goal setting and, accomplishing goals equals growth, right? And you want it to be something that you feel is realistic for you in the season that you are in your life, but also challenging. So, you want it to, with a goal, you want it to be something that challenges you in a different way, so that you've got some skin in the game, if that makes sense. So say you've been working on a goal and you've been chipping away at it and you're feeling like you're in the groove. Like, we talked about wanting to exercise more. You feel like you're in the groove, working out 3 days a week, things are going really well. Why not bump it up to 4 days a week? Or why not bump up, the time that you're working out for, 10, 15 minutes, and try and challenge yourself and really, dig deep in those moments and understand whether, you're challenging yourself and it's fruitful for you, or whether you need to, step back, reflect, and, go in another direction, which is okay too. But really being in tune with your mindset and your body, as well as what you want to accomplish.
Awesome, awesome. I know one thing, just to hit back on our challenge real quick. I know one thing that a lot of people are saying, or said, was, I lost 10 pounds last year, but then I gained all back, and I'm kind of scared to disappoint myself again. And I feel like that's definitely a common thing that a lot of people may face, is that you create a goal and you may not have, you probably even hit the goal, but it didn't maintain.
Yeah.
So I have two questions for you, actually, just from that scenario. what would you say for those people who have that mindset that, yeah, I made a goal, I hit it, but it didn't last, so I don't feel like disappointing myself? What type of motivation would you give them? And my second question is, let's just hit on that one first. So you just answer that one first.
Yeah. So I'm trying to think of I was trying to think of the question that you're asking. So with people who it's, kind of in like that yo-yo, right? So you've set a goal, you've reached the goal, and maybe you've, regressed backward a little bit and you're fearful of letting that happen again. It's a process and it's life, right? Things are going to happen and it's up to us to progress forward and continue moving forward and not let fear keep us stagnant and not allow us to progress to where we want to be. And I really love talking about visualizing that too. So yeah, it might have happened where you reached a goal and you lost the 10 pounds and then things happen, life happened, you're in a different season of your life, and now you got to, dig deep and think about and visualize where you are now, where you would like to be, and how you can get there in the best space that you can. So it's really about finding what works for you, because a lot of times we do set and we do reach goals and we will regress backwards because maybe the way that we reached it in the beginning worked for us then, but then something changed and it doesn't work for us as well anymore. So it's a time for us to pivot and try something new that can work for our lifestyle, our routine, and be sustainable. So that overarching hub with goal setting is it's got to be sustainable. So yeah, we're going to set goals and there could be, a date of completion or a goal to, reach it by, but it doesn't mean that the going stops there, right? You want to continue moving forward because that's just the way life is. And we always need to be prioritizing our health in different ways. And if it's pivoting and doing something different or trying something new, then that's okay.
Awesome. That's really, really good. I think to go along with what you said, if we could just hit on just the importance of knowing your why. I feel like I know you're really big on knowing your why, and we are too over at Kinetic, because we think that that's ultimately the driving force of what will motivate people to do what they're supposed to do and reach those goals. So if you could just hit on like why should people know their why, and is everybody's why the same, and do people's whys change with different goals?
Yeah. So, knowing your why and knowing, why you want to do, the goals or set the goals that you want to set, what do you want to accomplish? What's motivating you? And really thinking about, like I talked about, how you feel now, how you would ideally like to feel. So, with this visualization exercise, it's really, sitting present in the moment and saying, okay, how do I feel right now? How are these goals going to positively impact my life? What will that look like for me? How am I going to feel? What's the day going to look like? What smells am I going to smell throughout the day? Like, all of that, and visualizing that is so important when it comes to this.
Awesome, awesome. Well, those are all the questions I have. Do you have anything else just to contribute? Anything that you think that I've missed regarding goal setting or anything?
I think you've done a fantastic job asking questions. And, the one thing that I would do is, and I think we touched on it a little bit earlier with accountability, and you talked about, being self motivated. We are either going to be our own biggest champions and cheerleaders, or we're going to be our biggest peanut gallery, right? So we want to make sure that we're always constantly lifting ourselves up. And if something is weighing you down, being okay with muting that or blocking that out or giving yourself that space that's going to provide you those positive encouraging words internally as well as externally, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So we always want to be celebrating the small wins, tracking our progress and really being that champion for ourselves. Because yeah, we do have support sometimes externally and, in our environment and with our family, friends, partners, loved ones, everything like that. But it's up to us and, our mindset for us to reach those goals.
Definitely. There's a saying that we all know that sometimes you can be your biggest enemy, like you can be your worst in your head. And I feel like that's really huge, because sometimes we can overthink a lot of things, like, oh, I didn't do this, or I didn't accomplish this. Now everybody's looking at me like a loser, and everybody's like, no, you know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
that's really not the case. So I think definitely just that kind of aligns with encouraging yourself, and also aligns with writing it down, whether it's like
Yes.
board, or writing it down on just a piece of paper and putting it on above your bed or anything, just to remind you of why you're doing this. So
Exactly.
those are all my questions. Thank you so much for joining the discussion.
Anytime. I had a blast.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Is there any way that people, say if people are interested in your services and what you do, is there, how can they reach you and your website, different things like that?
Sure. So if you guys want to check out my website, it's www.defineyoullc.com. My Instagram is defineyou.coaching. And if you want to follow me on Facebook, you can find me at Define You Health and Wellness Coaching. So I'd love to hear from you guys. If you have questions, shoot them at us. We'd be happy to answer them.
Awesome. Awesome. So just to reiterate what Dr. Jones said in the beginning, during the time of this recording, we are having our KPT COVID-19 pounds weight loss challenge. And just like in the discussion, we talked about always having accountability and having those people to cheer you on. So speaking of accountability, we have a Facebook group that is going really, really well. We have a lot of people in there. We love for you to join, even outside the challenge. If you just want to start a fitness journey or just healthy living and just in general, we definitely want to encourage you just to join the chat. And just if you have any questions, you can drop in there. If you have any pictures, you can drop in there. It's definitely a safe space just to start your journey as well. So make sure you guys share this video with your friends. Make sure to follow us on Instagram and on Facebook at KPT Wellness. And thank you so much for joining the discussion.